your local Ford dealer, the Georgia Lottery, and by the All-South Highway Safety Team. The All-South Highway Safety Team reminds you to play it safe by slowing down behind the wheel.
Well, you can see the tarp is off the infield, but the pitcher's mound and home plate areas are still covered. It's a nasty night here at SunTrust Park. The rain stopped for about 45 minutes or so, but it's started up again and starting to rain rather hard. And looking at the forecast, it's going to be raining pretty much all night tonight. And the forecast for Atlanta tomorrow is equally bad. So you can understand, fellas, why the Braves and Marlins want to try to get this game in, because we don't know what's going to be in store weather-wise here tomorrow afternoon and evening. So Colby Allard's going to make his major league debut in a driving rainstorm at SunTrust Park against the Miami Marlins. But I would figure, fellas, he could care less. He's already on cloud nine.
Yeah, he may not even know it's raining. He may feel like it's sweat, dripping off his cap because he's so fired up for this. But it is not just sprinkling, it's raining pretty good.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you always dream of what your debut is going to be like. I know, Joe, you did the same thing I did. You definitely didn't envision this, but at the same time, I guarantee you'd rather be pitching in this than a beautiful 80-degree day in Gwinnett.
That's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. So Ed Mangan's got the field as ready as it can be. The infield dirt surfaces look great. No shiny spots. Home plate and the mound, of course, covered. So here comes Colby Allard for the first time as a big leaguer. When he throws his first major league pitch, fellas, he'll be the youngest pitcher in the major leagues. And he starts tonight for the Braves, who enter action only 1/2 game behind the Phillies in the National League East. What a night for the Braves' #1 pick back in 2015.
20 years old, as you said, Chip, 6'1", 190, out of San Clemente, California. The 14th overall pick back in 2015. This year at Gwinnett, here are the numbers: 6-4 with an excellent 2.80 ERA, 33 walks, 87 strikeouts, and 109 plus innings, and just a 250 average against him. Low 90s fastball, curveball, an excellent curveball, by the way, and a changeup, and a winning record overall in the minor leagues in his career of 22-18. The 4 keys to pitching success tonight. This is the same game, Colby, as you've been pitching down in AAA in all your life. 60 feet 6 inches from the pitching rubber to the mound. It's just that it's raining. So go out there and compete. He talked to us about that, or we saw the interview with him in spring training. He doesn't want to just be here. He wants to win.
And he'll be taking on a Marlins ball club that's playing pretty good baseball. They're 26-23 since June the 5th. And you hope wet weather doesn't favor the fish as they line up this way for Don Mattingly. He's the Marlins skipper, doing a heck of a job despite a 46-62 record. The Marlins have put things together in pretty good fashion of late, winning 9 of their last 15 series. They fell last night 5-3 in game 1 behind Julio Teheran and A.J. Minter, who picked up his 6th save of the season. So Starlin Castro will be the first man up for the Marlins. The Miami second baseman, batting .289 on the season. 8 homers and 40 runs batted in. And we're missing one crucial item on a wet night, and that is a rosin bag. So Ed Mangan will hand that off to Allard. That will be well used by he and Dan Straley, the Marlins starter.
Ed's the best in the game.
Yeah, he is.
I still text him every once in a while when I'm playing golf if I need to know if it's going to rain or not.
And Allard's first pitch as a big leaguer is a strike at 90 miles an hour. And that ball will head to the trophy case. Strike 2.
Well, you said it, Joe. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but from what I've heard from everybody around, that he's going to control. He's going to try to work you in and out, and like you said, that curveball keep you off balance.
Good change up there, kind of turned it over a little bit.
Well, Braves starters making their major league debuts have had an awful lot of success, as this one's bounced up the middle on a 1-2 count. Starlin Castro has a leadoff single. Mike Soroka beat the Mets. Matt Whistler beat the Mets. In recent years, Atlanta's youngsters making their first major league starts, more often than not, have ended up in the win column. We'll see if Allard can continue that trend here tonight.
Trying to ignore the elements is one thing. Gripping a wet baseball is another, and it quickly reminds you what you're trying to deal with.
Here's Brian Anderson. He hit a 2-run homer off Julio in the first inning last night, his 9th. And he jumps on the first pitch and lasers that into center. So back-to-back singles for Miami. And Allard quickly in the soup, if you will, with JT Realmuto, the catcher, standing in.
Fastball had a lot of the plate.
Yeah.
Anderson with a long homer here last night.
And I think you said it, Joe. It's the same game. I think he's going to find, though, that like that, you can't just kind of groove those get-me-overs here. The guys are ready to go.
Yeah,
hit your spots.
You want to throw strike one, make it a good pitch.
Yep.
JT Realmuto still a Marlin. Some who thought that the Nationals might try to swoop in and make a big offer to snatch him away from the Marlins locker room. That obviously didn't happen. Realmuto at 309 on the year. This one's popped up. And no play for Kurt Suzuki, the Braves catcher tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was an extremely busy trade deadline day today.
Yeah, I think you talk about Realmuto. I don't know about you, Joe, but I think you're going to end up seeing him maybe before the season's done, or even in the offseason with a long-term deal from Miami. I think it's the guy they want to lock up.
Well, they should.
This one's popped up. That'll be an infield fly if it's fair. It is foul, but nonetheless, that's put away by Camargo for out number 1. On a clear night, that's a routine play, but with the rain beating down in your face and into your eyeballs, that's not as easy as Camargo made it look. But there's the first out.
And you saw that pitch right there, Joe. We talked about it. A 1 to Anderson right down the middle. That one, same speed, just a little bit in, a little bit up.
Better location.
You got one of the better hitters out in baseball.
You know, we've been enjoying watching Anibal Sanchez pitch with his fastball ranging around 92, sometimes 93, but it's all about location. He can do the same thing from the left side.
Former Brave Martin Prado is up for the Marlins. 2 on, 1 out. Martin had a couple of hits last night and is hitting .252 for the year. Right there for a strike, says Jason Visconti, the home plate umpire. Our first look at him behind the plate. Two balls and a strike.
Colby was a young senior. You know, his birthday's in August, so he graduated and had not yet turned 18. So you think about it, he would just be finishing up his junior year in college.
Ground ball. Camargo vacuums that up. There's 1. There's 2. He got out of it.
There you go.
Back-to-back hits, a pop-up and a double play, and Allard is through his first big league inning. No score. against him. He then pops out Realmuto, gets former Brave Prado to double up. And now the Braves will try to give him some early offense. Behind Ronald Acuña Jr., who will lead off. Acuña hit a home run to straightaway center here last night. Albies, Freeman, Markakis 2 through 4. Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Standard alignment from Camargo South, and Dan Straley is the man on the mound for Miami. And guys, he has been resurgent in the month of July.
Well, he's been really tough on the Braves too. 2-0 in both of his starts, a 1.50 ERA, and they were back-to-back. May 11th and May 18th. And the one May 18th, 7 innings, a 3-hit shutout ball. He walked 3 and struck out 6. His lifetime record 4-2 against Atlanta. 29 years old.
Sorry, Joe. He's not going to do anything to just kind of over-impress you. He's going to work the corners, try to get ground balls, try to get outs, get double plays. We've faced him numerous times, though, so hopefully guys got a good idea what they want to do.
First pitch to Acuña is fouled straight back. Strike 1 to the Braves left fielder and leadoff man tonight. Ronald's done a nice job. Tonight's his 10th game leading off. He's hitting .294 out of that spot. And that call the strike on the inside corner. 0-2. Shift on for Ronald. As Straley misses outside. And that's 1-2. Interesting pitch with 3 defenders on the pull side for Acuña. And another one missed badly. It's 2-2.
How many balls do you think we're going to go through tonight?
Oh boy. John Holland and the guys have rubbed up a few tonight.
Yeah.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a high towering fly ball left. Dietrich back. That ball is gone. A leadoff homer. That is the definition of a rainmaker homer.
Yeah, it is. th home run allowed by Straley. Elevated a fastball. 1-0 Atlanta.
So Acuña's homered in back-to-back games. A leadoff homer to start the game. Colby Allard leads 1-0. Here's Ozzie.
That's one thing, Joe. It's one thing to elevate when it's 90. And it's another thing to elevate when it's 96. If you're going to elevate at 90, you got to get it where you want it.
Well, that's really been the renaissance for Dan Straley. He did a lot of soul searching when things weren't going well for him in the first couple of months of the season. As Ozzie awaits a 2-0 pitch, and it's caught on and missed. He went and did some real deep digging into the pitch tracks information and noticed that his 4-seam fastball was not rising by about 1 inch to 1.5 inches where it usually did. And Straley in his days in Cincinnati used to have a real good sinking fastball. He ditched that pitch. Well, he bought a $3,000 piece of equipment to track all of his release points, went through, entered all the data, and decided to re-implement the 2-seam fastball to get more sinkers, more ground outs like that. And he says that's one big reason why he's made this big turnaround in the month of July that's seen him give up just 10 earned runs in 31 innings. So he's really reinvented the reinvention of himself, if you will.
He's been hot and cold each month. He had a 9 ERA through April, a 2.93 ERA in May, including those 2 starts against the Braves. Then he jumped to 6.53.
That one right back where it came from. Shift that, says Freddie Freeman. A 1-out single right back through the box.
Well, if there's any way how we've hit the first 3 balls tonight, you might want to get that pitching machine or whatever it is out.
See if they can
I'm still thinking
up.
About that.
Yeah.
It blows me away. I mean, I could think of a lot of great things to do with $3,000.
Buying a pitch tracking machine isn't at the top
definitely
of your
not
list?
on the top of my list.
Well, at your house, it's going to be diapers and formula. So,
yeah, I guess whatever. Whatever helps you.
Whatever you think helps you.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's Markakis, the runner aboard, 1-0 Atlanta. Nick takes a strike. It's 0-1. Braves clubhouse is filling up with former Orioles all of a sudden. Braves acquired Darren O'Day and Kevin Gossman at the deadline today. O'Day, a relief pitcher who's injured, will be back next year. Gossman, a starting pitcher.
Speaking of machines, I remember I had a teammate one time, bought a $90,000 pitching machine that supposedly you're supposed to let the player, it'd be like Johan Santana facing you or somebody, and he told me he was going to get him. You know, he was locked. He'd faced all these guys before. Yeah, he's not playing anymore.
Yeah. My guess is you can find that machine on eBay someplace.
Yeah, might be able to. I was thinking that.
And that's bounced foul, a ball and 2 strikes. Australia was a name that some thought might be traded at the deadline because of his good work this month. And the Marlins were banking on this guy to be a real solid member of their rotation. Remember, he pitched in Cincinnati and pitched very well for the Reds. He won 14 games there in 2016. In that bandbox, that is real pitching.
And that's why when you're talking about the sinker, I faced him in 16, and I remember that of him being able to run the ball in. And like I said, to me, it's tough. If you only throw 90, you got to have some sort of movement.
You
on
better
it.
have it moving.
The Marlins acquired him from the Reds for Luis Castillo, Austin Bryce, and outfielder Isaiah White.
You know, he's at his best when he's putting a little on, taking a little off, but hitting spots. He's got to be in command.
Sharply hit. Castro can't handle that. Freddie's going to make the turn at second. He's going to chug toward third. Throw heading that way, not cut off. It bounces off his backside, and Atlanta's got runners at the corners with 1 out. Markakis with a missile that Castro couldn't knock down.
And watching Freddie Freeman when he was going around second base, he was taking a peek over his shoulder because he knows what a great arm Anderson has. And even though the ball was kind of slowed down by Castro, Freddie knew it would be a real race to third.
How tough is it for you guys as outfielders to play on nights like this?
Because you talk about, we have a fast outfield to begin with here in Atlanta, and all of a sudden you throw some wetness to it, and all of a sudden that ball's just skidding. There's going to be a lot of balls that they're going to have to take good angles, or they're going to be running after the wall all night, Joe.
And you're going to have to hope that you can grip the baseball in such a way that it's just not going to fly out of your hands and go somewhere you have no control over.
On strike 2, Kurt Suzuki, the Braves catcher tonight. Acuña, a leadoff homer. Freeman and Markakis with 1 out singles. A chance for a big first inning for the Braves. Straley's had his share of first inning troubles. This one squibbed right back to the mound. Looks the runner back. Throws to second for 1. On to first. It's just in time. And that's a double play. Atlanta, though, scores the first run of the night. Ronald Acuña with a towering home run into the Miami bullpen. And on a rainy night, Atlanta leads early 1-0. 10th through the 12th. It's the 9th annual alumni gathering here at SunTrust Park. We've got a great lineup, including a Chipper Jones pregame ceremony, the alumni softball home run derby, and alumni photos on the field. Go to Braves.com to get your tickets and to see the full schedule of events. Jeff Francoeur is going to compete in the home run derby. Maybe we can get Chipper to compete too.
I think he might be busy changing diapers.
I texted him. He's in the GM box tonight. Still no Cooper. No Cooper sighting.
I would imagine by August 10th we'll have a Cooper sighting.
Check swing, bouncing ball right to Camargo. Derek Dietrich is retired, and there's one of those perhaps difficult throws for an infielder handling a wet baseball. Camargo's throws are usually right on the money. That one wasn't, and Freeman dug it out.
Well, immediately, as soon as he threw it, he wiped his hand on his baseball pants to try to dry them off. That one slipped. Freddie doesn't get enough credit for what he does at first base, I don't think. Really good on short hops.
Miguel Rojas is at first base tonight for Justin Bohr. Rojas playing against the left-hander Colby Allard tonight. 7 homers for Rojas. He had 4 in his career before this season, and his first career multi-homer game came against Atlanta on May the 20th.
I don't care if it's righty lefty. I'll take Bohr sitting out tonight.
Me too. Gwinnett is at home. I'm guessing that they've had rain problems tonight, and if so, then all of Colby's former teammates are probably tuned in tonight and hoping he pitches well.
Rojas just stood there on a 3-0 count, and Allard just threw it right down the middle. 3 balls and a strike. Sharply hit, but right at Ozzie from the cut of the grass. 2 outs. And Rojas takes a U-turn before he gets to the first base bag. He's the second out.
I like that, Joe, right there. Get behind 3-0 and come back and throw 2 nice strikes.
And he's chirping with the umpire, Jason Visconti, by the way. I think Rojas was asking for time on that 3-0 count, didn't get it, and he's upset.
Well, I like the way Colby's working. He's working quickly.
Yep.
So here's JT Riddle. Riddle got it at bat last night, was retired. And another strike.
With that big curveball he has, Joe, if he lives there with his fastball painting corners, it's going to be a long night for the fish.
Yeah, that was a beauty. A little help there.
Now the 0-2 pitch.
It's all right. That's what Kurt Suzuki wanted him to do. He was patting the ground. He wanted him to bounce it. Just bounced it a little too far in front. Real asset for Colby Allard to have a veteran catcher behind the plate tonight too. Can trust his calls. He doesn't have to think too much about scouting report and rely on the catcher.
Just relax and execute what Kurt tells you.
So it's 2-2. And that one sailed way high. So after an 0-2 start, now it's a full count for JT Riddle, the Miami shortstop. Riddle 0 for 6 at the plate against the Braves this year. The pitch. Lifted softly toward left. Acuña is there, battling the lights and the rain. He's got it. And Allard has his first 1-2-3 inning as a big leaguer. He leads 1-0.
Second inning, and you guys, it is still raining here at SunTrust Park. You heard Joe mention that Gwinnett's game might have been affected, so the guys might be watching Colby Allard. Well, they were rained out, and they're feeling really good right now because they get to see a guy make his AAA debut tomorrow. That's Kyle Wright. So a lot of exciting promotions going on. That's the Braves' #2 overall prospect. He was drafted 5th overall last year. He was in AA all season, and he will make his AAA debut in Game 1 of a doubleheader tomorrow. So I feel like for a long time we're going to be seeing a lot of exciting things going on up here, but still a lot of exciting things to look forward to down on the farm.
Good call, Kelsey, including Touki Toussaint, who went 5 innings of 1-run ball again. Guys, all Touki has done at AAA is go 2-0 with a 1.78 ERA. Johan Camargo leads off the second for the Braves. Camargo at 258. And a couple of hits, had a run batted in last night. Those 2 hits for Johan were both doubles. He has 14 of those on the year now. And that's out of play.
It's another well-pitched game at Mississippi last night. Anderson Franco, 7 innings of 1 hit, shutout ball, no walks, struck out 8. Anderson Franco.
Strike Thors are a good thing, and a swing and a miss takes care of Camargo. First strikeout for Straley, and that'll bring up Ender Inciarte. Joe, you mentioned during our chat with Alex Anthopoulos the first-class manner that Ender dealt with the acquisition of Adam Duvall last night. Duvall's a right-hand hitter, a plus defender, and his acquisition is going to cut into Inciarte's playing time. But as you told us, he had a great response for Alex and Braves country after the deal.
He said he just wants to go to the playoffs. He wants to get into the postseason.
Line into center field, a base hit on the first pitch.
I mean, he's arguably playing his best baseball of the year right now, which shouldn't come as a surprise to any of us because he is a second-half guy with a career .318 average in the second half. He's got a real good swing working right now.
And I think Alex said it best, just talking up here. I think you could tell in his voice, guys, that this isn't going to be a permanent thing, hopefully for years to come. It's just, it's happened. We're in the middle of a pennant race, and we got a chance to, what we think, improve our team. And I think Ender handled it great. And, you know, he's going to be a huge part going forward. It's not like this guy's not going to play. He's going to get 80% of the at-bats.
I love what they've done because they've addressed all the needs. You know, they didn't get one big name guy. They got several good players and good pitchers to fill some spots, either the bench, the bullpen, the rotation with Gossman. That's pretty much a job well done right there.
And Alex did what he said he was going to do, try to improve the team without touching your top 15, 20 prospects, which in this day and age, and as loaded as the Braves system is, that is remarkable work. So we'll see how it all pans out, how all the pieces fit together. As that's high to Dansby, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I think what was great was he was still talking about all the guys to us that he was trying to get.
Yeah.
It's not like he got that and he was like, at 2 o'clock today, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he told us he was here till 6 in the morning. It's a long night.
Or a short one.
Fouled back to the screen again by Dansby. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Give a lot of credit too to his assistant Perry Manassian for working on that Oriole deal too. So congratulations all around.
Yep. I'd say one of the great things today, I don't know if y'all saw the lefty Jake Diekman with the Rangers got traded to the Diamondbacks and they're in Arizona playing.
Oh, they are. Didn't know that.
Sharply hit toward third. Martin to second for 1. Long throw to first, not in time. Dansby's good speed beats that wrap. Let's see if the Marlins take a look at this on review. I think they will at least check it out. And for the moment, Swanson's at first, and Inciarte forced out, and 2 are out in the inning.
He's safe.
But finishing my story real quick, I thought it was great. Jake Diekman made them bring the bullpen cart from Arizona and take them from the locker room and for Texas and the visiting all the way 50 yards to the other side.
Did he
in
really?
the bullpen cart.
Oh, that's awesome. That's right. Arizona has the bullpen cart that relievers can use if they desire. It's not mandatory.
Oh, I think that's a great. I love when I see a guy come out in a bullpen cart.
The first time Colby Allard's been at the plate in the big leagues. See what kind of swing he has.
Did you ever hear what they used to do in Milwaukee, Jeff?
No.
They had a Harley Davidson with a sidecar.
Oh,
bring him in.
See, that's beautiful. What happened to that?
I don't know.
love that.
I do too.
Yeah, Harleys were built in Milwaukee. It was a perfect sponsorship idea. Unless you have a real portly relief pitcher and they get stuck in the sidecar, it's a got to get a shoehorn to get him out.
They kind of went overboard in Seattle, though. The Kingdome, they had a boat.
That's right.
The SS Mariner. There's a cart decorated as a boat.
Swing, base hit, his first major league hit. Anderson slid, knocked the ball down, but can't stop Swanson from going first to third. What a night for Colby Allard, his first hit in his first plate appearance.
That's wonderful.
The ball smoked.
Look at EY. He's just as fired up as Colby.
It's a sweet little swing there.
Yeah, how exciting.
I think he's going to go in and challenge Fulte. I got the same amount of hits you do.
Well, the Braves have done a great job all year with 2-out hitting. Let's see if Acuña can bring home Swanson. That'll hit a home run to lead off the game for the Braves. Acuña has 3 hits on this homestand. All 3 of them are homers now.
And Fulte will say, I got 150 strikeouts. How many you got?
Yeah.
Off his thumbs and fouled straight back. It's 0-2.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten a text from Tom Glavine.
Oh, yeah. He's an athlete, you know, Jeff. That's
he
what
is.
Tom likes to say.
Might be past Tom's bedtime, though.
Okay. No balls, 2 strikes. And strike 3, a perfect pitch from Straley. And Acuña knew that he was struck out. 2 of those in the inning for Straley, still 1-0. Major League debut of Colby Allard. It's also a special night for our partner Jeff Rancourt. Look at Jeff in his younger days with Parkview High School here.
Look,
in
I got the Chipper Jones mock tee.
Did you also had the buzz cut working, didn't you?
Boy, that's when I could run.
Look at you go.
I had a little
zigging and zagging.
Yeah, I had a little something back then.
And Parkview High School's here tonight.
They are. They won the Baseball American National Championship this year. How about that?
Was it 35 and 6, 36 and 5, something?
35 and 6.
Wow.
But I'll give them one thing. I mean, baseball, high school baseball is a little different than when I played. And the fact that, now they travel to all these tournaments where they're playing high schools from California and Texas. We rarely played out of the state.
Joey's seem to make it over to Lassiter somehow. I don't know what that was all about.
It's still my favorite. First time I ever met Joe.
Yeah.
He said, by the way, you struck out my son the other day in the state championship.
Jeff said, I gave him one right there.
Magnarice Sierra is the Miami center fielder. Off to a 3 for 19 start in the big leagues with the Marlins. He came over from the Cardinals, and he promptly rips one into right field. So 3 singles for Miami. Sierra's first hit against Atlanta pitching puts him at first in front of Dan Straley.
Yeah, that's the most solid contact we've seen from Sierra.
And I got to brag a little bit on my old high school, and then I'll let it go. But, we've had 2 coaches in about 45 years there, which is impressive. They've had Hugh Buchanan, who is now actually a scout with the Braves, and then Chan Brown, who's taken over and been there about, 14, 15 years himself and won 4 or 5 state championships. So it's a great program.
It is, always has been.
And something Joe noticed that was also impressive, not just this great achievement of Parkview High School. Did you see what the Panthers did when the national anthem started? Did you notice that, Jeff?
I did not.
You were making your way back upstairs. The kids were walking back down the left field line to exit the field. The anthem started. Every single one of those kids lined up on the foul line and stood at attention while the anthem played in the rain.
Shoulder to shoulder.
And then walked off. That was equally impressive. Straley gets the bunt down. And the peg to first is in plenty of time. Good sacrifice for Straley. Second one of those on the season. And now we go to the top of the order with Sierra in scoring position and 1 out.
Well, knowing Chan, if they didn't do that, they would probably be running Monday at school.
Well, so far so good for Colby Allard. I mean, he's gotten all of his firsts out of the way, except for a strikeout. He could use one of those right here.
He got to 2 strikes on Starlin Castro in the first inning. Then the Marlins second baseman ripped a single. And a ground ball to second on the first pitch. That'll help. Runner to third, 2 outs. A little surprised, quite frankly, guys, that Starlin Castro is still a Marlin. Maybe they're going to try to keep him, but with teams like Milwaukee looking for middle infield help as good as he's been this year, I would think he would have been an extremely attractive commodity.
Did that deal go through? Milwaukee was supposed to be working on a deal for Jonathan Scope.
Yeah, they got him.
They did.
Sent Allard back to Baltimore. You talk about it, and I'm sure they got feelers, but at the same time, you don't just give Starlin Castro away. If you're not going to get what you want, Chip, you keep them and you build.
Especially with his change of feelings after being there this year. He likes being there.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, he got there, and all of a sudden he's hanging out with Martin Prado and Rojas and guys. He's like, hey, this ain't so bad.
Nor is summer on South Beach. So that's high to Brian Anderson, who singled his first time up. And Brewers get Jonathan Scope from Baltimore. The Red Sox added Ian Kinsler from the Angels.
That's a good move.
Miami made a couple of trades. They sent Brad Ziegler to Arizona. Cameron Maben went to Seattle. Maybe the biggest deal today was the Pittsburgh Pirates got Chris Archer from Tampa Bay. And that's ball 4. Braves didn't want Anderson to do damage, but now they've got to deal with Realmuto with first and third and 2 out.
I'll put that as code number 1. Big move today with the Dodgers getting Brian Dozier from Minnesota. That was a big get for them.
I did too. I'm a big Brian Dozier fan. I played against him for quite a few years up there, but you talk, there's not many true power hitting second basemen. He's one of them.
Phillies improved themselves too. Wilson Ramos, who's on the DL at the moment, but he will greatly improve their catching.
Phillies also added Aaron Loop from Toronto. And I would imagine that in large part to try to help neutralize Markakis and Freeman when the Braves and Phillies meet in back-to-back series and back-to-back final weekends of regular season play. Phillies are in Boston tonight and late lead 2-1. Jake Arrieta and Drew Pomeranz, the starters at Fenway Park.
I'd say the deal that I kind of thought was really interesting was last night the Red Sox getting Ian Kinsler, because I think it shows that Dustin Pedroia might not be coming back this year, Joe.
Right.
1 ball, 1 strike. That's a little low.
Kinsler's been there, done that. He's been through the wars in postseason too. So again, that was a good move.
Boston with a 6-game lead over the Yankees in the American League East. A whopping 42 games over 500. And we'll see the Red Sox here in Atlanta in September. Boston will be here the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of September.
Well, and they put Chris Sale on the disabled list today. With a 6-game lead, you have that luxury of resting your ace. And if he does have a little something going on his shoulder, take care of it.
I mean, that's the beauty of the 10-day DL.
Yeah.
You don't miss 3, 4 starts. You miss 1 or most 2.
So Allard's a strike away from escaping this 3rd inning. 3-2 pitch. Anderson at first takes off, and it's high, ball 4. So they're loaded, and Martin Prado's coming up. He hit into a double play in the 1st. And Kurt Suzuki is out for a quick discussion.
He hasn't used his curveball much. He's been relying on his fastball, which there's nothing wrong with that, but his location's been a little off here on these last 2 hitters.
Got to wonder if part of that with his curveball is getting a feel for it, having the confidence with the guy on 3rd to just let it go and throw it right now.
And again, the grip on the baseball, although it looks like it's pretty much stopped raining.
So a belt high strike has Prado behind 0-1. He's missed pretty consistently up in the zone and out of the zone. Even count. We'll be going through the Marlins lineup for the 2nd time now. Got that one over at the knees. That's the one Martin wanted back. Let's see if the kid can finish him off and Strand the bases loaded. There's the curve. It's hit right to Freddie. Nobody's at second. Allard got to the bag. And that retires the side. Prado rolls out. Miami strands 3 and Atlanta still leads. Weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18's available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. Joe Simpson, Jeff Francoeur, Kelsey Wingert, Chip Carey on a rainy night in Atlanta, SunTrust Park. Your venue. Braves lead 1-0 on a Ronald Acuña leadoff homer in the first. Colby Allard making his major league debut. Has a base hit and 3 scoreless innings under his belt on the mound. Dan Straley will face Ozzie Albies. And he got him to swing and miss. Strike 1.
You know, Joe, one thing I really like about Allard, too, and you're talking about he's going to get some strikeouts, but I like the idea that he can come in and realize I don't have to strike people out to be successful here.
And that's consistent, Jeff, with anybody that's got good command. They're going to be around the plate. They're going to get swings. Some of it's going to be solid contact. Sometimes it's not, but they're going to put the ball in play, and your defense is going to be sharp. They're going to be on their toes because there's not going to be a lot of dead time. And
I like it. You said last inning, Anderson, the 4-pitch walk, obviously you don't want that, but 3-2 to Realmuto. I'd rather have you walk him than just lay one in there.
Right.
Swing and a miss by Ozzie. He's down on strikes. Straley's got 3 of those, and that's how the home third starts. Well, it is kind of rare, I guess, in this day and age with max velocity pitching all the way through Major League Baseball. We've got a guy in Allard who's averaging less than a strikeout per inning pitched in AAA.
Think about Stripling here the other day with the Dodgers when Newcomb almost threw the no-hitter. I think on average Stripling throws a little harder than Allard. He's more 92 to 94, but everything's around the plate. If it misses, it just misses. It teases the hitter, makes them think it might be a strike, especially when they're behind in the count.
Castro can't get that. Freeman beats the shift again, and he's 2 for 2.
Well, that scooted through there.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you saw Ross Stripling's numbers when he pitched against the Braves coming into that game. 100 strikeouts, 14 walks, and 100.
Bugs Bunny numbers.
Right.
But what I like, too, is that when you think about the pitcher Sean Newcomb is, and you get a guy like Allard, you're not running 2 of the same guys out there. And I like it. It gives other teams different looks. You're facing completely different lefties. And I think that makes for a good combination.
It does, and it really affects timing. Good start for the kid.
Good start to Freddie Freeman's night. He's 2 for 2. Nick Markakis will try to match him. Nick with 129 hits this season and a .317 batting average, which has now been bumped up to .319 after his knock, and that missed off the plate. Markakis 4th in the league in hitting starting play tonight. At .319, he's now tied with Yelich and Scooter Gennett atop the National League batting pile.
I'll tell you this, Nick Markakis might be the fastest dresser in America. It was 8:36. I was down there with Ed Magnum talking below. He comes walking out in camo shorts, camo shirt. I'm like, you gonna get dressed? He's like, I got plenty of time. I go over there to do the Parkview thing, look over at 8:44. He's out running sprints, full uni. Wow.
There's a stat on the big screen here that right now that Nick Markakis is hitting .333 with runners on base in 198 at bats. Well, there's a good chance with Freddie hitting in front of you, you're going to hit with men on base a lot. So that's a good number to have.
Yeah. Well, Freddie's got 127 hits. Ozzie Albies has 118 hits, and Acuña has a 300 average or so batting leadoff.
I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a better 3-4 combination in baseball consistently all year. I was trying to think the other day, and I don't really know if there's one.
Well, and it's not a typical 3-4.
No.
Freddie's typical. Nick's not. Nick's not a 40 home run guy. He's just a really tough out and driving in runs. And he's doing it with singles and lots of doubles.
I'd have to have Chan look this up, but I would guess that in his Atlanta career, Nick Markakis has batted everywhere from 1st to 6th in this lineup.
and not that much at cleanup until this year.
Right.
Yeah, I know coming into this year, even when he got off to that hot start, they were hoping to bat someone, a right-handed hitter in that 4-hole, Joe. And then I think after about 2-3 weeks, he kept hitting, and Snit said, well, at this point, what the heck?
Yeah.
They both hit lefties good. I don't have to worry about it.
Freddie has a good lead at first. Full count pitch coming from Markakis. Rain's all but stopped. Freddie's going, and the pitch is lifted high in the air, deep toward right. Back goes Anderson. He's gone as far as he can go. Markakis hits another homer.
Like I said, he's not your typical home run.
He's not going to hit home runs.
He might wind up with 40.
He is incredible. All reliable. Another multi-hit game for Nick Markakis. His 42nd one of those.
Down and in, his 12th homer. Boy, he does such a good job of getting his hands inside the baseball right there. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it?
And I think also when you take a look, for kids who are watching at home, when he makes contact with that baseball, Joe, his head is looking right where that ball's hitting the bat. It's awesome.
I'm glad he got dressed.
That's popped up by Suzuki. Foul ground. Rojas on the warning track is going to squeeze that. And there's out number 2.
Yeah, so let's take a look right here. Sometimes you see guys pulling their heads, Joe, doing different stuff. Look at that right there, right at contact. I mean, that is, you can take a picture of that and sell it all day long. Look, it's still on the ball. And then he follows through high. That's, I mean, it's the perfect swing. Unlike, you know, I used to kind of flail my head.
Did you? Maybe just a little.
Every once in a while.
Fly ball by Camargo toward left, and Dietrich will catch that. Nick Markakis has hit his 12th homer. 13 is as high as a member of the Braves, and he's given Colby Allard now a 3-run cushion. That's right. August right around the corner, and join us Friday, August 10th. The first 20,000 fans get a Chipper Jones Hall of Fame replica plaque brought to you by SunTrust. And if you're one of the first 20,000 guests through the gates on Saturday, August 18th, you get your own Chipper Crazy Train bobblehead brought to you by Napa. Go to Braves.com for all the great Chipper deals. 3-0 Atlanta after 3. Dietrich, Rojas, and Riddle coming up. Colby Allard back to work. And another first pitch strike. Seems like he's thrown a lot of those tonight. Doesn't have a strikeout yet, but he's allowed just 3 singles.
There's the curveball. Colby was very highly rated in the draft in 2015. And during his senior year, he suffered a back injury.
Oh, a breaking ball nails Dietrich, and he's no stranger to that. 16th time Dietrich has been hit by a pitched ball.
He's got all that armor on, but I think this got him on the shoulder.
No, it did, but you know, he's going to get hit. He knows it. If you watch him, sometimes his body's almost out over the dish.
But the Braves were lucky that Allard dropped to them with the 14th pick in 2015, but it was primarily because of concerns over his back, which the Braves were very careful with his first year.
Here's Rojas, and another first pitch strike.
You talk about how good Nick and Freddie have both been, Joe. Who do you think right now you'd give the MVP to?
Ooh, that would be a tough one.
Yeah. Co?
Yeah. Both have 67 RBIs now. Both are in the top 10 in hitting.
Just a light misting rain at the moment. Game started in a downpour.
No, it's not, Chip. You're just seeing things. I think your eyes are a little foggy tonight. We got to get this one through 5.
Yep.
At least 4.5.
How about 4.5? And it pours and the game gets rained out and Colby gets a complete game in his first start.
There you go.
With a base hit too. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
He's ahead of Rojas with Dietrich at first, and the stretch and pitch. Hammered foul.
And that was a quick turn on that pitch. Looked like it was in off the plate.
It's one of those foul balls that you don't mind giving up as a pitcher. As a hitter, you love it because you hit it a mile, but there's no way to keep that ball fair.
I had a pitching coach in the minor leagues when I was coming up in the Dodger system that taught throwing a changeup up and in with 1 strike.
Really?
And get that foul ball.
Ground ball right to Ozzie. He'll step on the bag, drop the ball. He'll get the out. And no chance to get Rojas as a result of the fumble. But Dietrich is forced, and there's out number 1. Again, the baseball is going to be soaking wet. The Marlins might take a look at this and see if Ozzie had control when he stepped on the bag. He was transferring, but he never had control when he stepped on the pillow.
No, yeah, he didn't have it in his hand at all when he stepped on the bag.
This ball wasn't even close, Joe.
No. And what we would expect to happen instead of what might have been a double play is first and second and nobody out. Headphone problems.
Yeah, I think one of the ear flaps broke on one of the replay headsets. So Phil Cuzzi and Adam Hamari are the umpires, and the call will be overturned. Dietrich will be safe at second. So clear and convincing evidence that the on-field call was incorrect. And now JT Riddle is the batter with 2 on and nobody out.
Should be an error on Ozzie.
Fielder's choice on Rojas. Dietrich safe on the error, and now Allard to work. And a ground ball that sneaks through for a base hit. Here comes Dietrich around third. Markakis will concede the run. His throw heads to third. Missed the cutoff man. Throw to second. Got him. So Riddle got a little greedy. He does drive in a run. Rojas to third safely. It's a 3-1 game with 1 out. Give Riddle his 21st RBI.
Right here, Joe. It's a great job by Johan. Recognize it, going to get it. It's a big out. all of a sudden you got the 8th hitter here. Now you can bring the infield in. If you get him out, you got the pitcher, and maybe you can get out of this inning with only giving up 1 run.
The key was what you said, Jeff. Coming to get the baseball. You knew you didn't have a play at third. Come get it, make a shorter throw to second.
Sierra turned on a pitch and ripped it to right field for a base hit. And he shoots this one to left, and that's fair. He's a line-to-line hitter tonight, and he's on his way to second. The ball gets by Acuña, but not far enough for further advance. So Sierra is 2 for 2 tonight. He had 1 hit all year against a left-handed pitcher. He's got 2 tonight, and he's just made it a 1-run game.
Well, he finally got somebody closer to his own age.
Right.
First double of his career.
So it's a 3-2 score. Now Straley's the batter. Straley laid down a sacrifice bunt, his first and only time at the plate. So, Joe, one of your keys for Allard tonight: compete, get after it. Well, he's got a fight on his hands now. A 3-0 lead is now 3-2.
Yeah, he was able to pitch around a couple of walks last inning, but the leadoff runner reaching on a hit batsman on an errant breaking ball got this rally started.
And fouled away. It's 0-2.
And then you look like you had a tailor-made double play, and next thing you know, you got your hands full.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Straley swings and misses, and that is the first strikeout for Colby Allard in his major league career. How about that? He got his first big league hit against Straley, and then he strikes Straley out for his first whiff as a pitcher. So that's 3 souvenirs for Colby Allard tonight. And now you've got Castro, runner at second, 2 outs. They're in the 9th inning at Fenway Park. Phillies lead the Red Sox 2-1. Washington having a lot of fun tonight.
They got 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. The Nationals have scored 21 runs against the Mets this evening. And this one's lifted toward right center. Ender on the run, slowing to the track. He's got it, and the inning is over. Miami scores 2, but the Braves lead by 1. The 4th inning, and as you know, Colby Allard making his major league debut. So I found
two pretty cool people in the stands. I got his dad, Kenny Allard, and you guys might recognize this face. This is Austin Riley. I mentioned earlier in that report that Gwinnett's game was rained out. He made the trek down here to watch his buddy make his major league debut, and I'm going to start with you, Pops, man. Your whole life, you've been waiting for this moment to see your son make his major league debut. What are these emotions that you're feeling right now watching him take the mound?
It's very nerve-wracking and excited, and I'm very excited for him. I mean, this is not about me, it's about him. He's a great kid. He's worked hard his entire life. It's kind of been a dream since he was probably 10 years old, to be honest with you, and he's kind of seeing it come to life, so it's really exciting. We know what kind of pitcher he is. But in that first at-bat, he hits a single. What are you thinking in that moment? Unbelievable, honestly. I think it's his first hit all year, and we haven't played a lot of National League teams. It's kind of lopsided in Gwinnett this year, but I'm 99% sure that was his first hit. Go figure, here on this stage. So. And you said you took a red eye in from California last night. Correct. How did he tell you, and what was your initial reaction? He told me that he was supposed to pitch in Gwinnett on Sunday. He told me Saturday night he was scratched and it wasn't to be traded. It was just a possibility he'd come up here. And then at that point, we were just kind of in limbo until they've kind of worked everything out. Obviously, they're real busy with the trade deadline coming up and all that. But then we finally found out officially yesterday morning about 9 a.m. California time, and then we just scrambled to get a flight, pulled it off, and came last night, and kind of were zombies when we got here this morning, but here we are. So. Well worth it. Well, we're so excited he's up here, and I know you're excited. Yeah. Now, we'll move over to Austin. Your game gets rained out today around 4 o'clock. And you drive down here to watch your buddy make his MLB debut. What is this like for you? You know, it's awesome. You know, he's worked really hard to get here. And, you know, we were in Scranton when he got the call from Damon. He was actually grinding on Fortnite. I'm like laying in bed trying to sleep. And he's like, you know, I might be going up Tuesday. You know, just, you know, being able to experience, you know, someone that I've, you know, been drafted with, going through the whole process with. It's just, you know, super happy for him. Yeah, and you guys are all so close, and we've seen a lot of guys this season make their major league debuts. I mean, really, what is it like in that clubhouse when one of your best buddies gets that call and gets to share that news with all of you guys? You know, it's awesome. You know, you kind of can't explain it because, you know, we've all, you know, been through that grind of, you know, minor leagues and stuff. You know, it's what he's been working for his whole career, and you know, I know he's going to be here for a long time, and just like I said, super happy for him. Well, poor Austin Riley got suckered into doing an interview on his off day. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations to you. I know it's a special moment for you. Chip, Joe, and Jeff, we'll get it back up to you guys.
Kelsey, thank you very much. A hard hit line drive by Ender Inciarte down the right field line was called foul. And the Braves are going to take a look at this and challenge this call, and then this will be interesting. On a play like this, it's up to the umpires now to place the runner if this call is overturned, and I would assume he would be credited at least with a double.
Well, that's why I'm glad that Ender had the presence of mind to keep running and go on to second base. I wondered if it went off the glove of Rojas.
Well, that replay looked like it was clearly fair.
I'll be honest with you. I thought it was fair by a nice little margin.
Let's see this angle.
Wait, umpire didn't even see it.
He wasn't looking.
He wasn't even looking.
So that one whistled right by Dan Bellino, who wasn't looking at the ball down the right field line.
You see the look on Dan Bellino's face? I think he's kind of saying, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Watch right there. That ball is that's clearly fair.
Yeah.
Especially you look at EY right there at first base. He wouldn't be making that big a deal out of something like that. I'll tell you what, if they somehow don't reverse this, you might see Snit headed to the showers, Joe.
And Joe, I think you're right. I think Rojas might have gotten a piece of that, and maybe that's what Bellino was watching. And yes, this call is going to be overturned. It is a double, a leadoff double for Ender, who's 2 for 2.
Another hard hit ball by Inciarte too. That was ripped. That's a good start to the inning after the Marlins had cut into the lead.
So the Braves are getting their share of hits against Dan Straley. This guy's been awfully tough against the Braves so far this season, but he has been touched up for 8 hits already, and there's nobody out in the 4th.
He had only given up 6 in 12 innings in 2 starts earlier this year.
That's fouled away by the Braves shortstop. Strike 1. Dansby's 3 for 19 this year against the Marlins at the plate. See if he can find a hole and give the Braves a little more breathing room. It's 3-2 here in game 2.
Jeff, I know you pretty much hunted the fastball all the time, because you could kill fastballs. But with a guy like this who's throwing pretty much the kitchen sink at you in just about any count, did you ever go up early in the count looking for something other than the fastball?
Absolutely. And you know who really taught me that was Kevin Seitzer when I was in Kansas City. For certain guys, I remember I used to face Freddie Garcia, and he'd say sit 80. You know, his fastball's 86. You can foul it off, but most of his off-speed stuff is right around 78 or 80. And I sat 80 and had a lot of success. You know, because you look right there, 90. I'll be honest with you. I know it says 92, 93. That's his max, pretty much. I mean, maybe he touches 91, but you can foul that off all day long. So, yeah, sometimes you're going to look for certain pitches, you know, whereas when you're facing a guy like Fulte,
it's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's only against these guys I was thinking that, you know, have a lot of different weapons that they try to use.
Good take by Swanson there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, and you wonder if Seitz talked to them about that a little bit today. Maybe, you know, hey, don't be too anxious. Don't be out there, you know, because it's like anything. You saw Acuña. We know his hands are quick and he can go, but that ball was 2-2 up in the zone at 90, and he still was able to clear the hips and hit a home run. If that's 95, he's not doing that.
That's correct. He's not going to catch up.
Acuña lurking on the Braves bench. Allard next. Then we cycle through the order to get to the #1 spot. A walk would be terrific. Then you give Allard a chance to bunt 2 runners into scoring position, perhaps. But we're not there yet. 3 balls, 2 strikes. There's that foul ball you guys were talking about. Again, at 90 miles an hour.
Joe, can you please explain to me what Colby Allard's stats were in the minor leagues with hitting?
It wasn't quite what you would, well, maybe it is what you would think. In his career, 1 for 39.
And he's got a hit in his first at bat tonight.
Yeah.
He's walking back saying, it ain't so hard to hit in the show. You kidding me?
Wow. Another 3-2 pitch. Line drive. That's headed for the gap. That's going to get down and roll to the wall. Dansby's thinking about 2, and he'll stop there. That scores Inciarte. Back-to-back doubles for Atlanta. And the Braves now have a 4-2 lead. Super at bat by Swanson, who fell behind 2 strikes.
Yeah, and that's good because he was 1 for 10 against Straley. 2-seamer, had a lot of the plate. Nice piece of hitting to take it the other way.
And I think you called it, Joe, when you were talking about sitting on some other stuff or being selective. The only way he lays off that slider and the other stuff is he's not out front trying to get that fastball, and then he let that one travel, and it's only 90, so he drove it in the right center gap.
And felt like he could handle it away.
39 RBIs for Swanson.
2 sacrifices this year for Allard and 2 last year.
That one fouled back. It's strike 1. Nationals keep on scoring. It's 25-1.
No way.
Yep. And it mercifully goes to the top of the 9th. I wonder if the Mets had to use any position players to pitch in that game.
Jose Reyes, I'm told, is in there now.
What do you go, 3 innings?
The Mets are.
There's a punt. And Rojas bobbles it twice. He called off the pitcher and he couldn't get the handle.
I got it. You take it. I hope they score that a hit.
Oh.
Back off. Oh, I missed it. Sacrificing an E3. That's too bad. That was fun.
I'll tell you what, though. You could have almost gave that a hit.
Yeah.
You really could when you think about it, because he called him off at the last second. Yeah, that would have been something if he was 2 for 2.
Yeah, after going 1 for 39.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably text Austin Riley after the game, bro. It's not that hard up here.
Yeah. I was thinking about the Mets, though. The trading deadline, they may have wished they'd traded away their whole team after what happened today.
Well, they said Jose Reyes gave up 6 runs on 5 hits.
Oh, my.
I wonder if he was just lobbing it over, trying to
get it over
bring
with,
the gasoline.
Man. And that's where we're headed next. The Braves will take on the Mets beginning Thursday night. And fouled away by Acuña. No balls and a strike. For me, perhaps the most surprising thing is how inactive the Mets were at the deadline. A lot of folks thought that Zach Wheeler would go. Maybe a couple of their other pieces. But only Asdrubal Cabrera recently has gone. They traded Familia, you'll recall, to Oakland. That was a couple of weeks ago, though. Which may give you a hint as to what the Mets' thinking is. Matz, Wheeler, Syndergaard, DeGrom. You have those 4 guys healthy, build around them for next year.
You know, but you keep saying that. I've said that now for 2 or 3 years, talking about building around that staff.
And some of them are there and some of them aren't each year.
Well, it just seemed like overnight that team got extremely old. Cespedes, Bruce. Of course, Conforto had the horrible shoulder injury.
I just think it's just pitching injuries, Chip. I just think that they've just had a calamity of injuries to that incredible staff of arms. They just couldn't keep them healthy.
I agree. I think if that staff was thrown like they would, that offense would score enough sometimes to win ball games. But, you know, you look at it, like you said, besides that 1 year when they went to the World Series, you know, they just never. I mean, imagine what the record would be if they didn't start off 10-0 this year.
Good point.
Yeah, at one point they were 11-1 after that 10-0 start. The pitch was fouled back. Yeah, they were the toast of baseball in New York. Were the Mets. Having an awful night tonight. Pittsburgh won. They beat the Cubs 5-4. Look out for the Pirates.
Yes, sir.
They got Chris Archer. They got Keone Kela, the closer from Texas, who had 24 saves. They've been an extremely streaky team, but they are trending in the right direction.
Braves have 6 games left with them.
Strike 3 inside corner. Straley came back from a 3-1 count to get Acuña. And there's the first out. That was a paint job over the inner half.
That's a ball.
Yeah, it was.
But
it's too close to take, but it was a ball.
Rain's starting to fall again pretty good.
Yep. We're only in the 4th. Albies 0 for 2. And takes high. Ball 1. Yeah, so Pittsburgh beat the Cubs 5-4 today. Pittsburgh now 6 games out of the lead in the National League Central.
Goodness.
That's lifted softly toward left. Long run Riddle. Can anybody get there? Dietrich's trying. He can't. That's down safely. That's going to score a run. Ozzie lofted it into no man's land, and no Marlin could catch it. It's 5-2.
Braves come right back, get those 2 runs back. They gave up in the top of the 4th. Ozzie with a thing of beauty.
And I know that's one thing that, talking to some of the staff, you know, it's always been tough with Derek Dietrich, Joe, because he's always been able to hit he honestly just hasn't had a position. And he's, you know, he's not a natural outfielder.
No, his natural position is second base, and with Castro here, he wasn't going to play there, so they tried to use him the best they can out in the outfield. Solid pinch hitter too.
Well, and you look at him. I mean, he's having a great year at the plate. And for a team like this, they need his bat there every night.
So Straley's given up 5 runs on 10 hits. He's not through the 4th inning, and now with first and second, 1 out, he has to face Freeman and Markakis, who are combined 4 for 4 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs tonight.
And I'm not saying it's a direct correlation of how we're playing tonight to the trade deadline, but I'll tell you what, I'm sure getting the guys we did showed that locker room right there that we're making a run at this thing, Joe.
No
we didn't
doubt.
just stand pat.
No doubt about it. It's a nice thing because the fans see it, but it's even more important that the players see what's going on and how they've got the support.
No balls and a strike. As Freddie Freeman has absolutely destroyed Marlins pitching. In 42 at-bats, he has 20 hits, 6 home runs, and 11 RBIs. That's the most homers against one opponent since
I don't know.
Fly ball towards center. And Sierra says he's got it, and he does for the second out. Since Jeff Francoeur hit 7 homers against the Marlins back in 2006. We were talking about that tonight. You remember each and every one of them, don't you?
Don Terrell got him, what, 3 times?
Yeah. I think I was 7 for 68 against the Marlins that year.
And in case you wondered, the team record for the Braves, homers against one opponent. Dale Murphy one season hit 13 homers against the Giants.
13.
That's doing it, especially if you think about where he played at Candlestick.
Yeah.
So 2 on, 2 out for Markakis, already a 2-run homer tonight. Braves have a 5-2 lead.
This is the most runs that Straley's given up in a game since May 29th.
So he's been on a roll.
He has been. He's had a couple of outings where he's given up 4, but that was a 4-run game that he gave up at San Diego. That's the only time all year that he's given up 5 until tonight.
Jan Hartzog and Drew Jenkins looked it up for us with Nick Markakis. He has batted in every spot on the lineup card as a member of the Braves, with the exception of 7th. But this year, he's hit 4th or 5th in every game.
He's batted 8th
in previous seasons for the Braves, 1 time.
Really?
And 9th, I would assume, because of the DH.
Yeah, that was back when they were using him some as a leadoff man, I would guess.
He's got a 3-0 count. Suzuki on deck. And he made him throw a strike, and he did.
It'll be interesting to see, because he's got some flexibility, what Brian Snitker does with Duvall, how he uses him in the lineup, where he puts him in the lineup.
The 3-1 pitch is low, and they're loaded. So long defensive inning for the Marlins, who are soaking wet and down 3 runs. Nick aboard for the 3rd time in the game. His first free pass.
Colby Allard's been on the bases a long time too.
You know, you talk about how we're going to use Duvall. I think the great thing is you give Snit options. Pinch hit. You know, we talk about how good a defense he plays, but you know, when he's playing left field, you got a guy like Ender, whether it's defense, base running, that can come and do stuff. You got Charlie Culberson, who's been unbelievable for us. So we've strengthened a lot of areas that we needed to.
Big spot for Suzuki here. And he bounces one fair down the left field line in the first pitch. That'll score 2. Here comes Nick to third. He's getting waved around. Relay throw is on its way. It sails wide. A bases clearing double for Suzuki.
And I mean, that thing hugged the line all the way down into the corner. And that will end the night for Straley.
But that had to feel good too, because Kurt's first 2 at-bats tonight weren't the best he's had in a while. And he hit this thing right over it.
So the Braves really walloped Dan Straley tonight. 2 homers, 3 doubles, and double-digit hits, 11 in total through 3 2/3 innings. Trust. Confidence starts here. And by Staples, the back-to-school specialty. Ball is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. By SunTrust, confidence starts here. And by Staples, the back-to-school specialty store. Big inning for the Braves. They've scored 5 times and they're not done yet. They have chased Dan Straley with 11 hits and 8 runs so far. Javi Guerra is on for the 2nd straight night. He pitched an inning here last evening. And a bouncing ball to the right side. Castro's got it, and that will retire the side. What a night for the Atlanta offense. Kurt Suzuki clears the bases with a 2-out double. feature at SunTrust Park in August features a great lineup of schools. Next up, Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss. Head to Braves.com/College Nights and get your game ticket and co-branded hat. Braves have given Colby Allard 8 runs tonight. He leads 8-2. And the top of the 5th inning presented by Audi Q5. Anderson, Realmuto, and Prado coming up.
Sorry, Chip. Need 3 outs. Make this official.
Two balls, no strikes. And it fouled back to the screen.
You know, one thing I like is that he's been quite efficient with his pitch count tonight. I know he hasn't had the strike to ball ratio that he's used to probably, and I think will. I know nerves and all that, weather. But to be in the 5th at 62 pitches, it's pretty darn solid.
Sure is. Again, a lot of contact.
Like that. Little pop up into right field. Markakis is there. And there's out number 1. It'll be interesting to talk to the Marlins after the game. Look, we haven't seen Allard pitch much more than a handful of hitters in spring training. We're seeing the results. It'll be interesting to talk to guys like Realmuto and Prado to see what his pitches are like from the batter's box. Does he jump at you? Is it sneaky quick? Is it deceptive?
I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I'll bet they're all going to say, you know, he pitched a good ball game, whatever it turns out to be. But you know, I doubt that anybody's going to be blown away because that's not the way he pitches.
I was going to say the exact same thing, Joe. It's like when people ask you about Hendricks with the Cubs, you're not going to sit there and say, man, it was just dominating stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to say another 0 for 3.
Yeah, the old comfortable 0 for 3 and
Absolutely.
0 for 4, right?
And like Joe said, that's not his style. He's not out there trying to blow it by you. He's trying to put the ball in play and paint corners.
And his stuff does play. He's going to have nights, ultimately, where his command's not as good as he wants it to be, and he'll probably get hit hard. That's why he's got to have good control and why he's in the big leagues now, because he does have good command.
And I think one thing, too, is you think about it, I don't think we've really seen his good curveball tonight yet.
I don't think so either.
Which is a good sign.
That's high, ball 3. Well, if he can get through 4 innings without using it, if he needs to show it in the 5th, 6th, or 7th, it's there for him. High fly ball. That's belted deep left field. That one's not coming back. Realmuto hits one about 20 rows into the bleachers in left. And the Marlins have their 3rd run on Realmuto's 14th homer of the year.
That one was clipped.
His 3rd homer of the year against Atlanta.
His 7th in his career.
Yeah, that pitch was right down Broadway for him.
Throwing strikes, trying to get outs. Yep. Got a big lead.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Rather have him do that than walk a guy and start a rally.
Yep, you live with solos. And here's Prado. Martin's 0 for 2. And takes a strike. That's into right field. Markakis is there and makes a sliding catch on his knees.
Almost looked like that ball might have got up in the lights for a second. You saw Nick kind of slow down for a minute.
Absolutely, it might have. In fact, he might have made a motion to enter that it was an issue. Nice catch.
I don't know if y'all saw too. Nick shaved his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a chat with him about that.
Scared us half to death. And as Dietrich takes a strike.
I told him, if you go 0 for 20, we're buying you a wig.
And then look what he does. Hits a home run.
So no problem. Oh, this was several days ago. Yeah, he's been tearing it up. No worries.
Left center. Acuña glides over. He's got that. Allard gives up the homer, nothing else. It's an official game, and he's qualified for the win, and he's got a 5-run lead. Brought to you by Geico. 2 years ago today, Jeff Francoeur hit an opposite field 2-run homer against the Phillies. It was your final home run in the major leagues.
Look at that. Oh, AJ giving me a 5. Who would have figured my final home run would have been right down the right field line?
Opposite field, yeah.
What was your final number at homers?
160.
160.
Well, that's a lot.
So we all know about your first home run. Those who forgot, that was your last. Of 160 in the big leagues. Ender Inciarte leads off for Atlanta. Guerra back to work and paints the corner. Ender's had another good night. 2 more hits. He scored a run. Ender drove in a run last night. So he's already had a productive series against Miami. And that one is in the dirt. He's tagged out. And that's how the 5th inning starts. 1 up, 1 down for Guerra. And Dansby Swanson, the hitter. Game 3 of the series is tomorrow. Anibal Sanchez will get the ball for the Braves. And Pablo Lopez will pitch for the Marlins. Anibal has been absolutely outstanding for the Braves this year. 5-3 is his record. He pitched a super ball game against the Dodgers. His line won't show it, but he was really, really good back on July 26th. And he'll face his former squad, perhaps with a chance to help the Braves sweep this 3-game series. They're up 8-3 in game 2 tonight, and that's down and away. Ball 1, strike 1.
Guerra worked the 8th inning last night. Fly ball, ground out, strikeout. Got good stuff. Got a real good downer type slider.
And Miami is not his first rodeo. He broke in with the Dodgers in 2011. Went to the White Sox for a couple of seasons. The Angels in 2016. Only 26 big league games his last 3 years before this season with the Marlins. Born in Denton, Texas, and now 32 years old, signed just before Christmas Day last year.
Hey, the weather's turned out all right.
Rain appears to have stopped, which is good news. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right back up the middle. Diving play. Castro can't get the handle on the outfield turf. And Dansby is aboard with 1 out.
That was a great play by Castro just to stop it. But even if he gets up, he's not throwing Dansby out with that speed. Right through the wickets. That's Dansby was smelling that hit.
Yeah, he was. Landed pretty hard too on this dive. And looked like he landed on top of the base almost, but off to the side. That's good.
Someone asked me before the game what I thought would be a good line for Colby Allard tonight. I said, get up for a 3rd time.
That's great. Yeah.
That's
means
exactly
you're scoring runs and you're putting up some good numbers.
You are right on tonight.
And he's going to lay down the bunt. It is absolutely perfect. Have yourself a night at the plate.
I need to tell you.
I want to know if those numbers are true down in the minor leagues. 1 for 39, what, only a couple sack bunts? So far tonight, smoked one, bunted one right back, and then killed one of the best sacrifice bunts right there all year.
Already with 2 in his major league career. Well, he said it in that spring training interview. I don't want to just show up and be happy to be here. I want to help contribute.
Boy, has he ever tonight in his first big league game.
That's somebody with a baseball maturity beyond his years. Great confidence.
The youngest pitcher in the major leagues, Colby Allard, tonight enjoys an 8-3 advantage. And now a slow roller by Acuña, and that's 0-2. Allard is the 3rd youngest player in the major leagues, behind Ronald Acuña and Soto of the Nationals.
What were you telling me though about having 3 20-year-olds in the lineup together?
Well, Ozzy's 21, right?
That's right.
So
yeah, he's getting old.
Yeah. But our pal Tommy Hutton with the Marlins does such great pre and post game work on Fox Sports Florida, gave us a note that September of 1979, the Expos had 3 20-year-olds playing together in the lineup. As this one's hit the other way for a base hit. Here comes Dansby around to score. How about Acuña's night? A homer to left, a single to right, and the Braves add on a 9th run.
Beat the shift. They were playing him way over to pull, and he inside outs this fastball in.
And that actually was a really good pitch by Guerrero right there. That ball was in. He just, like you said.
So the old man, Ozzy Albies, 1 for 3 tonight, is our Zaxby's indescribably good player. Look what he's done over the last month.
Tons of runs scored too. Key for his part, or his spot in the order. So who did the Expos and Phillies have working that day, Chip?
It was just the Expos. They had Gary Carter behind the plate, Warren Cromartie in the outfield, and Larry Parrish. Tommy Hutton was a doubleheader. It was game 2 of a doubleheader. Tommy Hutton played left field, had a couple of walks and scored a run. Ken Singleton played right field for the Expos. Both of those guys became broadcasters who worked with Dave Van Horn, who's in the Hall of Fame and was the Expos radio voice and is here tonight with the Marlins.
This kind of ties it all together, is having Dave Van Horn here.
He was in the Hall of Fame. Terrific man and an excellent broadcaster. The 1-2 pitch. That's hammered toward the gap in right center. Look at Acuña fly. He's around second. He's on his way to third. He's going to stop. Ozzy slams on the brakes, lost his helmet, and they're at the corners with 2 outs. And right now, the Atlanta offense is showing absolutely no mercy to these Marlins pitchers. Atlanta is raking 14 hits.
Boy, high, loopy curveball. Ozzie got a good look at that one.
This is where those guys on the bench, Joe, are saying, come on, Snit, let me at him.
Yeah, right.
Let me get on the action.
These guys are tired, I can tell.
Freddie's never tired of facing the Marlins. He's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
6 and 11 in 11 games. Uncle, what they're yelling over there in that Marlins dugout.
There's a bouncing ball to Rojas. He'll step on the bag, and that sends us to inning number 6. It's all Braves, 9-3 in game 2. Say as we joined you tonight from Atlanta, Braves made another big trade with the Baltimore Orioles. They got Darren O'Day and Kevin Gossman, the pride of LSU and the 4th overall pick in the draft back in 2012. Today for 4 minor leaguers.
That is one nasty sinker that guy has.
And I'm sure our lovely Kelsey is glad to have a LSU Tiger back.
Miguel Rojas leads off. Allard works in his 6th inning in his major league debut. Gave up 2 hits to the first 2 batters he faced. Got a pop out and a double play to get out of that mess. And the bases loaded in the 3rd with Martin Prado up. Got a ground out to end that threat. Could have very easily gotten out of the 4th inning with no runs scored. As he dropped a ball at 2nd. A couple of hits later, the Marlins made it a 1-run game. Gave up a homer in the 5th. But the Braves just kept on pouring on the offense, scoring 5 runs in the 4th inning to blow it open. It's 9-3.
Change up, beauty. I was anxious to see this kid pitch, and he has not disappointed.
No, what I like out there is, you know, he stayed focused. When Ozzie made that error behind him, you know, and he gave up a couple runs, it could have been easy, but he's stayed locked in. And
that one right back where it came from, and Ozzie couldn't get it. It's a leadoff hit.
You know which inning I like the best? 1st inning. He gave up pretty good base hits to lead off his career, the first 2 batters of the ball game, and then he got a foul out from Realmuto and a double play ball.
Yeah, that had to help settle him down too.
You know it did.
And he was pitching in a rainstorm. But you wouldn't know it tonight.
No, I tell you, we've gotten lucky. I mean, if you know, we were watching the radar before the game, and we thought there's no way we're going to play without heavy rain. Now it's actually a beautiful night.
Hope that continues into the series wrap up tomorrow. One ball, no strikes. Boy, I never knew those ponchos could be so useful. Did you see that shot?
Texting under the poncho.
Got to protect the cell phone.
I'll tell you who's got it figured out on ponchos is Disney World.
Really?
Yeah. Starts raining, $15 a poncho.
Uh-oh. That kind of figured out.
Yep.
That's lined over short. JT Riddle scoops that one into center. And for the second time tonight, Miami has back-to-back singles to start an inning. But again, the bottom of the order is coming up. Chuck Hernandez is out. Let's see if the Braves can figure out how to retire Magneuris Sierra. Phillies beat Boston 3-1, so Atlanta has to win tonight to remain a half game back. Mets made it respectable in Washington. They fell 25-4. Pirates beat the Cubs 5-4. Colorado is winning in St. Louis. The Rockies didn't do much at the deadline. They came off a great month of pitching at Coors Field. They start action only one game behind the Dodgers.
I'd like the discussion today before the deadline about how if the Nationals had actually put Bryce Harper out there, that the Rockies might have been a player.
Really?
Yeah. How about him in that outfield at Coors Field for the rest of the season?
With Cargo and Blackman and Arenado and LeMahieu, Story.
That had some merit.
Ground ball. That's going to get through. Sierra's got a 3-hit game. And Miami will play at first and third. It's now a 9-4 score. How about Sierra? He had 3 hits all year. He's 3 for 3 tonight. And Brian Snitker is on his way to the top step. He has not made a move yet. I think he's waiting for the Marlins to announce their pinch hitter, and then perhaps he'll go get Allard. But we'll see. There we go. The pinch hitter is announced. Yadiel Rivera is going to pinch hit for Guerra. And Miami, with 3 straight singles in the 6th inning, has made it a 9-4 game. But what an unforgettable night for Colby Allard. This rain-soaked crowd gives him a warm ovation as he heads to the dugout with a big lead in his debut. Synovus, the bank of here, 81 pitches in his big league debut for Colby Allard, who has surrendered 4 runs so far. The runners aboard are his responsibility. There's the rest of his line, 48 strikes. That guy's only a couple of walks, 1 strikeout.
Well, Don Mattingly got what he wanted out of all this. He sent up Rivera to show a right-handed pinch hitter. Jackson comes in, and Mattingly's able to send up the guy he wants, Justin Bour, in an effort to get 1 swing and really get back in this game.
And he does have 1 swing, but it's not going to be deep enough to hit a home run. Will it be deep enough to score Riddle? There's the catch. Markakis' throw is cut off, and Bour with 1 swing has a sac fly to bring home the 5th Marlins run.
And I'll tell you what, if you're Don Mattingly, you know, he did the job, but I think he was hoping for a little something more. And if you're Snit and Luke Jackson out there, you're excited about that. Kill the damage.
Right.
So back to the top, it's Starlin Castro, who's 1 for 3 in the game. That one's up the middle. Ozzie with a backhand. Long, strong throw. Slide it first. It's late. And that's going to be an out.
What a throw by Ozzie there, Joe.
That
has some humph on it.
That's the old shortstop arm for Ozzie.
Yeah.
Good play.
Thought for a moment there was a little hesitation there from Ozzie. Why he didn't try to just run through the bag there.
Run through, he gets there quicker.
Slowed him down. That might have been the difference. So all help appreciated. 2 pitches, 2 outs for Jackson. Sierra at second for Anderson, who singled, walked, and popped out.
It's amazing to me how many people still slide into first. You're told since Little League pretty much that it's faster to run through the bag.
Sure.
It's a great way to hurt yourself too.
Arizona's got a big lead tonight at home over Texas, 4-0. Diamondbacks are a half game behind the Dodgers, who play Milwaukee in a little while. Wade Miley and Walker Buehler will be the pitchers. Christian Yelich is red hot. Yelich has a 14-game hitting streak for Milwaukee working. Brewers won 5-2 in Manny Machado's home debut at Dodger Stadium. And Joe, you said he did something special late.
Yeah, he hit a homer in the 9th, a losing cause.
That's fouled off Suzuki. It's a ball and a strike.
Yeah, Yelich has been hot, especially about 2-3 weeks now. He might be in line to as one of the candidates for Player of the Month.
Final day of July 2018. Braves trying to win their 10th game this month and get back to 10 over 500. Swing and a miss for Anderson. 1 ball, 2 strikes. August will be interesting for the Braves. We've got the Mets in Washington on the upcoming road trip. That's an 8-game trip for the Braves. The pitch is banged toward third and foul. After the game on August 9th, the Braves are back home for one of their longest homestands of the year. Milwaukee, the Marlins, and then 4 with the Rockies. Then we go to Pittsburgh, face the Pirates for the first time, go to Miami, and then end the month of August with Tampa Bay, the Cubs for 1, and Pittsburgh.
At home?
At home. The 1-2 pitch is fouled away.
I don't want to. You don't ever want to count your chickens before they hatch, but I think looking ahead there, a little 13-game juggernaut with at home for Pittsburgh for 3, Boston at home for 3, and then you're going out west for Arizona for 4 and San Fran for 3. That's going to be a huge 13-game slate.
Jackson ready. It was 1-2. It's poked toward third. Camargo went to a knee, smothered that, threw a strike to first, and that will end the inning. Miami gets 2. The final line for Allard: 5 runs in 5 innings. He leads by 4. 3 times. He's also hit a 2-run homer. Let's take a look at StatCast AI powered by AWS.
Something down and in, and he golfed it out. His 12th homer of the year. 377 feet.
And so Don Mattingly will go to his bullpen again as he adjusts his defense. Justin Bohr stays in the game. He'll play first base. Rojas moves from first to second. And this is 6'7" Tyron Guerrero out of Boca Chica, Colombia. We saw him pitch in back-to-back games down in Miami. 2 scoreless frames against the Braves down at Marlins Park.
6'7".
6'7". 27 years old. They got him from the Padres organization.
And of course he throws 99.
Yeah, he can
rush. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He was signed as a non-drafted free agent in 2009. Miami got him in 2016. And fouled away by Markakis. Marlins got Guerrero, Andrew Kashner, and Colin Ray. For Carter Capps, Jared Cozart, Luis Castillo, and Josh Naylor. That was the trade that saw Colin Ray come up with a bad elbow, and I think they had to redo that deal later.
Right.
They had that covered and fouled it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
101, guys.
Yeah.
In on the hands.
And it comes out very easily from his hand.
Bouncing ball hit toward second. Rojas gives ground, throws to first, and got him by a half step. 1 down. Thought for a minute Rojas was going to play that into a base hit.
Yeah, and that's one of those sometimes, Joe, where as a hitter, you're not really mad that he just threw a slider right there. He did him a favor.
Yeah, and it was 85.
Yeah.
Final line for Colby Allard tonight: 5+ innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, a couple of walks, strikeout, a home run allowed. He very easily could have escaped with 3 runs allowed in this game. But more importantly, he's got a chance to win his debut, which seems to happen a lot for Braves youngsters in the big leagues. Already happened to Mike Soroka this year when he beat the Mets. And Suzuki almost got hit with a 102-mile-an-hour fastball.
And that right there is why I do not miss playing baseball. I mean, righty on righty, 102. Look at this. You heard him. I mean, you could hear Kurt up here. Ah!
He couldn't even get out of the way in time, really. It just happened to miss him.
1 ball, no strikes. Profiles encourage swing there after you almost got hit. You hang in there and foul away another 102-mile-an-hour pitch.
Sometimes as a hitter, you might say, I'll take my 1 for 3 and my 3 RBIs and live to see another day.
9 runs on 14 hits for the Braves in game 2. And again, he went with a slider, and it's fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tampa Bay won tonight. They beat the Angels by a 10-6 score.
They changed their team. They got some outfielders. They got Tony Pham from the Cardinals. They got Austin Meadows in the deal from the Pirates.
I actually really like the return they got for Chris Archer.
Tyler Glasnow also came over in that trade. But someone said earlier tonight, until Glasnow reports, with the trade of Archer and with Snell on the disabled list, the Tampa Bay Rays have 0 conventional starting pitchers on their staff right now. Remember, they're the club that uses the opener.
Well, that's perfect for them. That's what they want, right?
I guess. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Remarkably, Tampa Bay right at 500 this year. And when they went to that opener concept for the starters, at one point for about 6 weeks, they had the best ERA in the game.
I just have to say, Kurt is having a miserable time right now.
I think if I'm Kurt, I open my stance up just a little bit.
I'm taking right here. I'm turning and taking.
Fouled away.
And this, Joe, is where the game's changed so much. My first 7, 8, 9 years in the big leagues, if we're up 9-5 in the bottom of the 6th, at no point would you ever see anybody throwing close to 99 to 102 coming in.
No. You got mop-up guys.
Yeah, those are guys you do your damage against.
Uh-huh.
Popped up. And Rojas is underneath, and he's got it. And that's the second out. As you said, that was not a fun at bat. Suzuki, a good job to make contact.
I remember a game in New York at Old Yankee Stadium, and Goose Gossage had come off the disabled list and needed an inning of work against Seattle. And it was horribly cold and like almost sleeting. And of course, he's breathing. He looked like a bull out there with the breath coming out. He was just snorting. And there were 3 of us on the bench for the Mariners, just huddled in a corner trying to stay warm. Hadn't played.
Swing and a drive. That ball is belted by Camargo. How about that bomb? Whew. You talk about an effortless swing. That was spectacular.
Left-handed too.
Yeah, and you're also, if you're Kurt Suzuki, you're thinking, why did he get 94?
Number 12 for Camargo, the team leader in RBIs, as you saw in our SunTrust confidence graphic. Home run number 12 for the Braves third baseman.
Boy, did he get the barrel out. Number 12 for Camargo.
And that's good to see from the left side.
Here's Ender, another good night for him. And you know, I'm really happy for Johan. All the national media speculating about what the Braves might or might not do at the deadline, saying, oh, Atlanta needs a third baseman. Well, those writers who weren't following the Braves saw Camargo had more runs batted in than any other Braves hitter in the month of June. And he's played spectacular defensively.
Call me crazy, guys, but those to Ender right there, 101, 101. Is there a way that that 94 was a split or a changeup?
It must have been. It must have been something that he,
I don't think it was a fastball.
His palm ball. I don't know.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes. The Braves have scored 10 tonight. And that one's whistled into center. Boy, Ender is having himself a big game.
He sure is. He's locked in again. It's great.
All right, right here, Joe, we're going to take a look at this home run pitch.
Oh, it's a split.
A 94 mile per hour split.
Wow.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I don't know that I have either.
Even Chapman and some of those guys, changeups and stuff are 89, 90.
Yeah. Johan got a good look at that too.
So the Braves have scored in every inning tonight but the second. And lead 10-5. With Dansby out there, he's reached 3 times, 2 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI.
What a great night for Ender.
I'm so excited for him, given all that's happened in the last few days, how he stood up for a teammate, how he said the right things with regard to the acquisition of Duvall. Just wants to win.
1-0 pitch with 2 outs. That's up and in at 101. How did he get out of the way of that?
Yeah. That story I was beginning to tell you about Goose Gossage, he struck out Larry Milbourne. We were frozen. We were so cold. Struck out Milbourne. Look out. Dan Meyer hit in front of me. Dan fouled off a pitch, and I thought he was the greatest hitter I ever saw.
But I'll tell you, you know, I got hit in the face in the minor leagues. Remember, I know Dansby did too, and that's, I know we talk about toughness and all that, but when you get one like that and you remember how bad it hurt, it's not very fun to be up there.
Well, you don't know where it's going.
Look, that's 100 way in, and sometimes you just hope you get out of the box. It reminds me almost of instructional league on the backfield where you just got a guy throwing 100 with no clue where it's going.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He doesn't know where it's going, and worse, you don't either.
Exactly.
2 balls and a strike. 16 Atlanta hits. And now 2-2.
I thought you were going to say in your story, Joe, that y'all were all huddled up in the corner and none of y'all went to pinch hit. He said, no, thank you.
Yeah, I wish we could have, because it was miserable. It was just that one inning of work. And he struck Dan Meyer out, and he walked me. You know, he walked me and stared and glared at me all the way down the first baseline. And I was like, dude, if you just throw it over there, I got no shot.
That's your fault, pal.
Yeah.
Two balls, 2 strikes for Dansby Swanson. Popped up. Bore in foul ground is there, and that'll retire the side. Every Brave that has started this game has at least 1 hit, including Johan Camargo, who homered with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Atlanta 10, Miami 5. We go to the 7th. Zed will be performing at SunTrust Park on Friday, August 31st. Come on out and watch the Braves take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Stay for the free post-game concert brought to you by Coca-Cola. Get your tickets at Braves.com.
That's a cool logo he's got with his name, the way they got it spelled out.
To the 7th we go. Realmuto, Prado, and Dietrich are the trio of Marlins coming up. Luke Jackson will start his 2nd inning of relief. Realmuto homered his last time up.
Good work by Luke last inning. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. He gave up a sac fly, but that's all. And it's good because he's given up a run in every outing since the All-Star break. This is his 4th. So another good inning here would be a nice step forward for Luke.
Official attendance at SunTrust tonight, 18,627. Considering the weather, that's a real nice crowd.
I almost consider that a sellout.
The 2-1 pitch is taken low, ball 3.
I think most of them came to see the Parkview baseball team get honored.
How could they not? The pitch is chopped toward third. Camargo charges barehand. Wet baseball. Wide throw at first, and Freddie held on to the bag. That was a tremendously difficult play on both ends of the baseball.
I have so much respect for any infielder. Most of the time it's a third baseman or second baseman who have to come in and barehand a ball and come up with it cleanly, not bobbling it, and are still able to get off a good throw, because a lot of times their whole hand is wrapped around the baseball.
And you throw in the infield. Look, it's wet. You see all the footprints from the mud, people walking across. That's a great play by Johan.
Martin Prado's hitless tonight. Markakis made a nice sliding catch on his knees to rob him in the 5th inning. And he's quickly behind 0-2. Phillies already won tonight. Washington was victorious, as that takes care of Prado, who strikes out for the first time. And with one more out, we'll head to the middle of the 7th inning. It'll be the stretch presented by Synovus, the Bank of Here. Matthew Kaminsky, the Braves stadium organist, plays the greatest theme song in college football for Georgia Tech star Derek Dietrich.
Somehow I don't believe that.
When I was listening, I was going, that doesn't sound like Ramblin' Wreck to me.
No, it doesn't. It's beautiful. Dietrich's been hit by a pitch. He scored a run. And that one got a piece of Suzuki. Dietrich was called out on a fielder's choice, bouncing ball up the middle that Ozzie grabbed. He tried to get to the second base bag and throw in the same motion, but he dropped the ball before he got to the second base pillow. And after review, the Marlins had 2 runners on. Riddle and Sierra then followed with run scoring hits. Dan Straley, the pitcher, struck out in the 4th inning. Castro flied out, and that was the end of that threat. But you could easily make the case that Allard could have gotten out of that frame with no runs.
You bet.
The 2-1 pitch.
You know, it's so big to have a guy like Luke Jackson, too, that can go out there and throw 2 innings, save your bullpen a little bit in a game like this. Obviously, it's not out of reach a game, but at this point, still, you're not going to bring in your top guys.
He's only thrown 21 pitches. He might go another one.
Dietrich strikes out, which has been problematic for him. And Jackson has faced 6 batters. He's retired them all in a 10-5 game. Good work tonight in Atlanta. It's time to stretch.
To the stretch, presented by Synovus, the Bank of Here.
Welcome to the stretch, brought to you by Synovus. Jerome and Brian on the Fox Sports set out here in the Battery, staying dry, thankfully, and a busy day at the trade deadline. But before we get into that, BJ, we got to tell you how impressed we are that Kobe Allard got his first major league hit before his first major league strikeout. What'd you think of the youngster?
You know what? I was impressed with him. First pitch he threw was a strike, and that's hard enough. When a young kid getting his debut on a rainy day after an hour delay, that was impressive, Jerome.
It was indeed impressive. We can't wait for his second start, whenever that will be. Of course, as I mentioned, the trade deadline came and went 4 p.m. Eastern. Braves were busy. Everybody was busy in the National League East. Of course, the Braves acquiring Adam Duvall late last night, and then Kevin Gausman from the Orioles today, basically for Evan Phillips, 3 other minor leaguers. And boy, those Orioles love that international slot money, no question about it. The Phillies, winners tonight, picked up Wilson Ramos from the Rays. That's a pretty good pickup for them.
It is.
They need some catchers. And Aaron Luke, a little help out there from the Blue Jays on the mound. Washington getting rid of Randy Kinsler there.
Surprised. I'm really surprised that they started unloading some pretty good pitchers in that bullpen.
And then Cameron Maben, who was right here at the ballpark last night, he goes out to Seattle today. And Brad Ziegler was one of those relievers that a lot of teams were inquiring about. No question about it. So Miami got rid of him as well. But you got to like what the Braves did. They got bullpen help on both sides, and now they got a starter.
They addressed every need that everyone was talking about, even myself. The bullpen struggling. They needed help there in the starter. You know, to bring in Gosman, that's going to help this starting rotation. But Adam Duvall was the guy that I really liked, bringing that power off the bench. And when he starts in left field, you know, more offense, the better.
All right, before we get you back up to Chip and Joe and Jeff, a word from our friends at Synovus.
Visit Synovus for your banking, lending, and investing needs. Proudly serving you across the Southeast. Synovus, the bank of here.
Jerome and VJ, thank you very much for your good work during the stretch on this rainy night. It's all Atlanta, 10-5. Couple changes. Isaac Callaway is going to take over in the outfield. He'll play in left for Derek Dietrich. And this is Brett Graves in for his 7th game.
And Luke Jackson is going to hit for himself.
Yeah, you called it, Joe. With only 21 pitches, I guess he says throw him another one.
Yeah, he said feel good. Stay after it. Graves is low to mid-90s. Curve and there's a cutter off his fastball too.
So Jackson ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. And he's gone 3-0 to the pitcher. Don Mattingly, we talked about it last night as the Marlins were approaching the deadline. And a lot more than Brad Ziegler's. That one missed badly inside, a 4-pitch walk. And Jackson's aboard here in the 7th. Marlins had a lot more than just Brad Ziegler available in their bullpen to trade if they wanted to. Drew Steckenrider was the name we heard about. Conley was the name we heard about. Kyle Barraclaw was the name we heard about. But Don Mattingly has said, look, they're trying to keep some of their players. They feel that these guys could be core pieces as this rebuild continues down in Miami. And whatever deals they were going to make were going to be baseball related, as Acuña has another opposite field hit.
Well, that's an instant replay of the one he hit his last time up.
You wonder if they're going to make adjustment tomorrow on that.
Yeah.
That's 17 Atlanta hits. The Braves have had 16 or more hits in a game against the Marlins now 3 times this year.
Well, that was on a slider too, Jeff. Good swing.
That's a good sign right there. I know he's hit quite a few home runs, and that was it. But to go 2 balls scalded that way.
You know, I fully expected. Everybody's been talking about how the Dodgers needed somebody in front of Jansen, you know, a 8th inning guy.
Yep.
I really kept waiting all day long to hear that they had gotten Barraclaw. I thought that was going to be their guy. They wound up with John Axford.
Ground ball hit to second, might be 2. There's 1, and the throw to first in time. Runner to third, 2 outs.
And a lot of the talk about the Dodgers staff has included that some of their starters will go to the bullpen in the postseason, that they're not in that dire straits anyway.
Yeah,
makes sense.
You say that, but then you also wonder, can those guys pitch in the 8th inning? You know, Joe? How do you translate? Just because you got good stuff and you might be a starter, does that translate?
Not always.
Well, I'll tell you this. With the acquisitions that the Dodgers made, you have Dozier, you've got Manny Machado, you've got Bellinger, you've got Puig. Having relief problems might be the least of their problems for the Dodgers, because if they figure to score a ton of runs, that is going to be an unbelievably explosive, deep, and interchangeable lineup for Dave Roberts here over the final 2 months out west.
It is, but that doesn't guarantee you anything, and those guys still got to show up and play, and that's a lot of personalities put into one clubhouse. I always say that. I try to.
Little flare by Freddie. That's going to drop in and score the 11th run. 3-hit night for the Braves first baseman. And his 68th RBI.
I always remember when you talk about September call-ups. Bobby was always brought up a couple bullpen people. Joe, maybe one pinch runner or something, a catcher, and that was it. He didn't want to mess up. And I feel like sometimes you can add so much that, you know, you can mess up chemistry.
If you've got a good ball club, you don't want to bring up a bunch of guys.
I agree.
You don't want to throw off their rhythm and their the way they've been playing all year. A lot of teams that call up a lot of guys are poor teams that need to look at a lot of people.
Nick Markakis will try to get greedy here. Nick's reached 3 times, 2 hits, a 2-run homer, 2 runs. Again, every Brave starter, including the pitcher Colby Allard, has at least 1 hit tonight. And Atlanta with 18 of them.
I think you look at the Marlins, we talk about them, you know, not trading a whole bunch of guys. Like you said, at some point, you want guys to be on your team. Look at San Diego. They're in last place in the division, you know, really not that close, but hey, we're not trading people. We feel like we're building in the right direction.
Yeah, they had a guy that I thought would be moved today too, Kirby Yates.
Yeah, that's something that they talked about on MLB radio, and I agreed. Why keep him? With all due respect, I know you got to have somebody down in your bullpen, but it would seem to me Kirby Yates would be more useful to someone else to benefit San Diego than he would for the Padres, who are buried out west. Ground ball hit to the right side. A shovel to first, and Bora's there to retire Markakis and end the Atlanta 7th. A leadoff walk to Luke Jackson, the pitcher, turns into an RBI for Freddie Freeman, and the Braves are rolling.
Ahead to the 8th, but nothing like what we saw up in Washington, D.C. tonight. Our Xfinity game break. Mets and the Nationals already 19-1. Yes, that's Jose Reyes, the shortstop, the third baseman in there. And Big City Matt Adams takes him deep. And then Mark Reynolds almost looked embarrassed. He took them deep, but hey, you got to pad your stats somehow, right? Jose, you may want to stick to the infield. 25-4 the final, fellas.
I don't know if the Mets have had a low point this year, but that one might be close.
You know it.
And we will see New York after our game tomorrow night. 4 games up at Citi Field. Braves have played the Mets very, very well. En route to a 30-16 divisional record against the East. Rojas leading off the 8th inning. Luke Jackson will try to fire another frame. Mets are 3-9 against Atlanta. Braves are about to go 8-3 against the Marlins. Braves are 7-5 against both the Phillies and the Nationals. If that winning percentage continues in September, as someone in this chair used to say, we'll be dancing in the streets.
Yeah.
Come October. 2 balls, no strikes for Rojas. And scalded foul out of play. As Jeff mentioned, the Mets started 11-1 this season. They are 44-60 since. Cespedes done for the year. Cabrera traded. Matt Harvey traded. They will look like a very different team from the one we saw last here in Atlanta in mid-June.
They're 44-60 now after the loss, Chip. So take away that 11-1 start.
Yikes. Now the chance for Camargo, and he throws a sinker at first, and Freddie makes the play. And he's looking at Yohan saying, can you throw one right at my chest, please?
That makes the Mets 33-59.
Yikes.
Since the start.
Which probably gives him the worst record in baseball since the first 12 games of the season.
I would guess. Right there with Baltimore.
Well, the Mets have a race on their hands, and the race is not to finish last.
Well, if they got 33 wins after 12 games, Baltimore is at 32 wins. Kansas City 32 wins, so yeah, maybe second, third worst.
So yeah, trying times for Mickey Callaway in New York. Not to mention the fact they have lost their general manager, Sandy Alderson, who had to step down because of a recurrence of cancer. And of course, everybody in baseball wishes Sandy all the best and a full and complete recovery. But they've got a three-headed decision-making department with Omar Minaya, John Rico, I believe it is, and the former Toronto general manager, whose name escapes me, J.P. Ricciardi. Those are the three chief decision makers for the Mets.
I just feel like when you look at the Mets, they never know which way they want to go. It's never a clear path to me.
The 2-2. It's rolled foul.
I don't know where they rank among baseball organizations with respect to their minor league system. You know, in the last couple of years, Nimmo, Conforto, about the only two guys I can think of any consequence that came up through their system.
Yeah, we had Ahmed Rosario, the shortstop. When we saw him, he was so-so. He's gotten better, apparently.
Disappointing, yeah.
Dominic Smith hasn't done much.
Pitching, of course, they've done a good job of developing that. They've drafted and signed well. They just can't keep them well.
And that'll be the challenge, and that's the risk for the Mets, I guess. If you're going to keep Wheeler and Syndergaard and DeGrom and Matz, you're rolling the dice that all four of those guys can stay healthy with not many reinforcements behind them. And the overall question is, that's called strike three to Riddle. Boy, Jackson is dealing. He has set down 8 straight.
3 strikeouts too.
And one thing that's huge too here, I don't know if he'll come back out for the 9th. I would say probably not, but at the same time, he is saving the bullpen and loads you up for tomorrow night to have him.
Yeah, it's great, and it's great for his confidence.
And tomorrow night it's Sanchez and Lopez. That's going to scatter the Braves in the first base dugout. Strike one for Magneuris Sierra, who's had a magnificent night. 3 hits all year, 3 hits, 2 RBIs out of the 8th spot on the Marlins lineup card. Wonder if his confidence level is sky high after Cameron Maybin was traded away. I'll bet you Don Mattingly said to this kid, get ready, you're going to be busy over these final 2 months to see what you can do. That one's in the dirt. He swung over the top, and Luke Jackson has thrown 3 perfect innings of relief, and he's done that on only 35 pitches. Will he come out for the 9th? Well, we got the bottom of the 8th first to figure that out. It's all Atlanta. team together feature. The whole team is having some fun at the plate. I think it's safe to say, including Kurt Suzuki. Here's what the Braves have done against the East.
Great numbers within the division. Good batting average, good ERA. It all adds up. And because you play so many games within your division, if you're going to beat up on somebody, that's who you want to beat up on.
I think that shows it's a pretty darn good job by our staff putting a game plan together for, you know, especially when you know teams as many times as you play them.
I thought the hitters made great adjustments tonight on Straley after he pitched great against them in back-to-back starts earlier.
We talked about it. We'll be interested to see tomorrow if we go down there and talk to those hitters to see kind of what their game plan was.
He came in really happy with his sinking fastball. It didn't sink much. He gave up 8 runs and 11 hits in less than 4 innings of starting work tonight. 3 balls and a strike. And that's skied towards center. And Sierra is there and puts it away for the first out in the Atlanta 8th. Next 9 games are against the East. 12 of the next 15 for the Braves. Again, another critical stretch for Atlanta, trying to keep pace with the Phillies. And good to see Atlanta starting to get some things rolling at home. The previous 8 games entering tonight's play, the Braves had scored a grand total of 19 runs. They've got 11 in this game alone. With 3 more outs to get in the 9th inning, if the Braves can get them with this lead, they'll have won 11 of 14 head-to-head with the Marlins. So while you focus your attention on what you've done with the Phillies, and you always have to keep your eye on the defending champions of the division, the Nationals, it's the games against the Marlins and Mets, I would assume, guys, that will have as much an impact on who wins this Eastern race as the head-to-head games against the top 2 or 3.
Sure, because you just expect the other 2 teams that are in contention to beat up on those lower teams, those teams at the bottom of the division. You just expect them to do it. That means you needs to do it as well.
Yeah, and you think about we're 7-5 against the Phillies. You know, Nat's pretty even. I mean, it's one of those things you, like you said, you just expect to kind of beat each other up a little bit, and then it's like you said, who can beat the other 2?
Well, Atlanta's done that. If this one holds, it'll be 17-6 against Miami and New York for the Braves. That will play. And that's into the seats foul. It's a full count to Camargo. A solo home run off Guerrero. Johan hit a 94-mile-an-hour split finger pitch out for his 12th homer. I just like saying that.
That might be one of the highlights of the year.
And he takes ball 4. A 1-out walk for Camargo. And that'll bring up Ender, who looks for his 4th hit. Don't forget, Alumni Weekend's coming up August 10th, 11th, and 12th. The Chipper Jones pregame ceremony. Jeff Francoeur will try to keep his hamstrings in shape. The softball home run derby and alumni photos on the field. Go to Braves.com for all the ticket information. Alumni Weekend, one of the best weekends of the year, and such a great job done by Greg McMichael and his staff. As the Braves will host Milwaukee. And a base hit by Ender. He does have that 4th hit.
Get them while they're hot, Ender.
Yep. You know, one thing you talk about our record in the East, and some people I've heard say, well, you know, they're only winning the East. They're under 500 against everyone else. Well, you know what? I don't really care about that, because you can sit there, Joe, and say all you want, Chip, but when the NL Central is playing the AL Central for as many games as they are in interleague and beating up while we're playing the Red Sox 6 times, we're playing the Yankees, the Blue Jays, Tampa. Go figure. It all evens out.
That's in there for a strike. It's 0-1 for Dansby Swanson. Dansby has 2 hits, 2 runs tonight. And 5 hits this year against Marlins pitching. Braves has thrown a lot of pitches in his inning and a third so far. That one's number 28.
19 hits for Atlanta. Ties the season high. Set way back on March 31st.
It's game 3 against the Phillies. Swing and a miss.
Is that the bullpen game?
It might have been.
Yeah, so 4 months to the day, the Braves have a chance to equal their season high in hits. One ball, 2 strikes, and it's fouled away at the plate. Cleveland beat Minnesota 6-2. Phillies beat Boston 3-1. Tampa Bay 10-6 over the Angels. Tigers beat the Reds 2-1. Matt Harvey didn't get traded. That's a little bit of a surprise. Yankees 6-3 over Baltimore.
It was said that obviously a deal didn't come around that made sense for the Reds.
Back to the mound. Second base one. Quick turn for the double play.
But they may be able to move him through the waiver period.
There you go, which will begin or has begun already. We go to the 9th, 11-5 Atlanta.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity delivers the fastest internet with the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. And by Delta Airlines.
Fantasy high school report card. Straight A's, our Synovus Greatness Made Here feature.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And the Braves did a good thing tonight. I mean, they got the leadoff homer from Acuña, so that kind of set the tone and just kept adding on tonight as the night went on. But a big night for Ender. Nick with a 2-for-4 night. Home run for Camargo. All good. But I think the best sign of all is Ender and the way he's swinging again and hitting with authority. It's great to see.
Yeah, 4 hits for him, hitting in the 7th spot in the lineup. Every Brave had a hit tonight that started. How about Luke Jackson? 3 perfect innings of relief tonight, following Colby Allard, who's in line to win his major league debut. Now Dan Winkler will face Bohr, Galloway, and Anderson.
Kurt just wore one right there. That can't feel good. Got him on the inside of the thigh.
9th inning too.
Oh. That's where he's looking at Bohr saying either swing it or don't.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, Joe, too, with Ender, I think he made a great point after, you know, the things he said and came out and did a great job and get 4 hits tonight. He's going to play a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just saying, I think some people act like, you know, it's almost like it's going to be 50-50. I mean, you face 80% right-handed pitchers.
Sure. And he'll come in for defense if
Absolutely.
the Braves have a lead, and he might still get an at-bat that night. No, he's going to be in there a lot.
Yeah, and on the days he doesn't play, guys, he becomes a real big weapon for you in a lot of ways off the bench. If he's swinging a hot bat, number one, or he can take a walk, steal a base for you. He's got home run power. So it just adds a lot of versatility for Brian Snitker as this one's lifted by Bohr into shallow right. And that's going to be caught by Dansby Swanson in shallow right field. Remember when Brandon Phillips used to have to draw lines for Dansby Swanson to don't go across the line of death? Well, Nick Markakis might have to get some of that spray foam that the World Cup referees use. Tell Dansby, stay out of here.
He doesn't need that. He could just get some string from Blooper.
Oh, that's right. Well, that was great having Blooper in the booth last night.
I'll tell you, it was, man. One of the best mascots in the game, no doubt.
You know, we've got you in the alumni home run hitting contest.
Yep.
I think the only thing left for you, really, beyond that is
the tool race.
The tool race. I'm just thinking.
Oh, Dansby,
wow.
Can you get him? No, he can't. What an effort, though, as Isaac Galloway, in his major league debut, has an infield hit.
Oh, good for him.
I was going to say, pardon me. Let's get a double play in the game here, but what a play right here by Dansby.
Let me tell you guys something about Isaac Galloway. He played in 855 minor league games, entered this season with 3,077 minor league at-bats. This is his major league debut, and he got a hit.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Out of Pomona, California, 28 years old. And now Brian Anderson keeps up his good hitting work. Miami's going to have runners at second and third. Albies knocked over at second base. He's flat on his back as Anderson collided with him. Galloway came around to score the 6th Marlins run, and let's see if Ozzy's all right. He took quite a tumble, landing flat on his back at second base.
That was really odd. Oh, he backed up into him. He was backing up to give some ground to field that ball.
But I tell you, if that glove drops just a little bit more, he would have tagged him right here. He'd have been out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I say we're just lucky that he's up and walking around, to be honest with you.
Looked like a little whiplash as he hit the turf. You could see his head snap back toward the dirt. George Poulos, the Braves' terrific athletic trainer, making sure he's all right. Meanwhile, the Marlins pick up a run on back-to-back hits. And it's now an 11-6 game. Yeah, Isaac Galloway, who scored the run here, has been a lifelong Marlins prospect. They took him in the 8th round in 2008.
How old is he?
He's 28.
Yeah, couldn't be happier for him.
So JT Realmuto with 1 on, 1 in, 1 out. So it's a double for Anderson. They do not give him an RBI because Galloway was stopped at third when Ozzy hit the dirt. Then he sprinted home because there was no play to be made by the Braves second baseman. And now Winkler, trying to mop this one up for Atlanta, has a quick 2-strike count on the Miami catcher, who is 10 for his last 25 here at SunTrust Park.
He's probably that at a lot of places, not just here, though.
The 0-2 pitch. It's slowly hit toward third. Camargo will charge, and Freeman corrals that one. And Miami down to its last out. And it'll be Martin Prado. Tough night at the plate for Martin. 0 for 4, a double play and a strikeout. Braves 11, Miami 6. 30 combined hits tonight. 15 combined left on base. But you know what? That we got this game in and have a chance to finish it before midnight with the forecast we had with the long rain delay. It really is a miraculous night.
Like you said, it probably only rained a total of 2 innings if you think about it.
Yeah, but as heavy as the rain was up until 9 o'clock, it's speaks to how well this field drains.
That's out of play, and the Braves are a strike away from their 3rd straight win. Sanchez and Lopez tomorrow night. Braves live at 7. First pitch 7:35. By the way, I think Jason Visconti's done a heck of a job behind the plate. A couple of pitches that you can quibble with, but as many as we've seen, hardly have noticed he's been back there, which I mean is an ultimate compliment.
Right.
He's done a good job tonight.
So tip of the cap to him and their crew as Winkler ready with his 1-2 pitch. And Prado fouled it back.
Martin's not had any luck tonight, but he's hit the ball hard a couple of times. You mentioned the getting robbed by Nick Markakis on a sliding catch. He was 2 for 4 last night. That was a very good swing right there. Just missed it. He has certainly begun to come around.
Yeah, I think he's healthy finally again.
And a swing and a miss will end it. Martin Prado chased one up and out of the zone. Ronald Acuña and the Braves a big night. 19 hits, 11 runs. Ender with a 4-hit game. Every